All right, welcome everyone. Today we are staging an epic showdown between three titans of the API world. In one corner, you've got the reigning, undisputed champion, REST. In the other corner, the flexible and precise challenger, GraphQL. And entering the ring is the high-speed specialist, we have gRPC. Let's get right into it.
So here's the big question we're trying to answer today. Out of these three amazing technologies, which one is actually the right choice for your project? And, this isn't about finding one single winner for everything. It's about understanding the unique strengths of each contender so you can pick the one that perfectly fits what you need to build.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to do a quick warm-up covering the basics of what an API even is, the digital handshake. Then, we'll introduce our three contenders one by one, digging into what makes them tick. And finally, we'll put them all side by side in a final showdown to help you choose your champion.
Okay, before we bring out the heavyweights, we gotta set the stage. Let's just take a second to get on the same page about what an API actually is. Because at its core, this is how different pieces of software talk to each other. It's that fundamental handshake that makes the digital world work.
An application programming interface, or API, it's basically a contract. It's a clear set of rules that defines how one app can ask for information or services from another. I love the restaurant menu analogy. You don't need to know what's happening in the kitchen, right? You just need to look at the menu, know what you can order, and what you're going to get back on your plate. That's an API.
And here's the thing. No matter which style you pick, REST, GraphQL, or gRPC, a great API is always built on solid design principles. This list shows some of the stuff developers sweat over, like idempotency to make sure things are predictable, and proper versioning so that updates don't break older apps that rely on it. And of course, testing is absolutely critical here. You gotta make sure that digital handshake is strong and reliable, every single time. All right, let's bring in our first contender, representational state transfer. Yeah, let's just call it REST. This isn't some new kid on the block. REST is the long-reigning champion, the universal standard that has pretty much powered the web for decades. The real secret to REST's success is its beautiful simplicity. It doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. Instead, it just piggybacks on the very same protocol that runs the entire web, HTTP. It uses the standard commands or verbs that are already built into every browser and every server out there. And it's so elegant how these verbs just map to everyday actions. You use get to read some data, post to create something new, put to update it, and delete to, well, you get it. Now, you'll see this word here, idempotent. What does that even mean? It's simple. It just means you can do the action over and over and you'll get the same result. So a get or delete is idempotent, but a post isn't. Think about accidentally clicking submit twice on a form. You might end up with two orders. That's the difference. So at the end of the day, REST's biggest strength is that simplicity. It's easy to understand, it's easy to cache, everyone gets it. But it has a pretty big weakness. If you need complex data, say for a user's profile screen, you might have to make several trips to the server. This leads to what we call overfetching, getting way more data than you need, or underfetching, not getting enough and having to go back for more. And that exact problem, well, that's what our next contender was born to solve. And that brings us perfectly to our next challenger, GraphQL. This was developed inside Facebook, and it was created as a direct answer to those data-fetching headaches of REST. Its whole philosophy is about precision, flexibility, and putting the power back into the hands of the client. This slide really gets to the heart of the difference. With REST, you have lots of endpoints, /users, /posts, /comments. With GraphQL, you have one, just one single endpoint. And the server doesn't decide what data you get. Instead, the client sends this super specific query saying, hey, I need exactly this, and this field. And it gets it all back in one single efficient trip. Now, GraphQL is more than just a one-trick pony. Queries are for fetching data with that laser precision we talked about. Mutations are how you change data, kind of like a post or put in REST. But the real game changer here is subscriptions. This lets the server push real-time updates to the client. Think live notifications or chat messages. It's all built on a strong type system, which acts like a guaranteed contract between the front end and back end, helping to squash bugs before they even happen. Okay, on to our final contender, gRPC. Now this one's a little different. It's not really trying to compete with REST or GraphQL for your public user-facing APIs. Nope. gRPC is a highly specialized tool built for a completely different fight, blazing fast internal communication between all your different microservices. So what is it exactly?
Well, gRPC is Google's modern take on a classic idea called the remote procedure call. It's engineered from the ground up for one thing: raw performance. The whole goal is to make a function call to another server, maybe halfway across the world, feel just as quick and easy as calling a function that's right there in your own code. So how does it pull off this incredible speed? Well, it really boils down to two magic ingredients. First, instead of sending human-readable text like JSON, it uses something called protocol buffers, which is a super efficient binary format. And second, it runs on HTTPS2, a much faster and more modern version of the web's protocol. That combo means gRPC messages are tiny and incredibly fast, which is perfect for the chatter-heavy world of internal microservices. Okay, all our contenders have been introduced. Their strengths and weaknesses have been laid bare. Now it is time for the final showdown. Let's put them all side by side and figure out which one you should be picking for your next project. This right here, this is the key takeaway. If you need a simple public API that's easy to cache and that basically everyone on Earth understands, REST is still your champion. If you're building a complex mobile app or a modern front end where data requirements are always changing, GraphQL's flexibility is just unbeatable. But if you are building the high-speed nervous system for your internal microservices where every millisecond counts, gRPC is the clear winner, no contest.
At the end of the day, what this all comes down to is that there is no single best API. It just doesn't exist. As the quote says, everything is a trade-off. The right choice isn't about which technology is cooler or newer. It's about deeply understanding the problem you're trying to solve. Each one of these is a champion in its own arena, designed for a very specific fight.
And that brings us to the end of our API war. This whole landscape is constantly shifting. REST gave us a universal standard. GraphQL gave us incredible flexibility. And gRPC gave us raw speed. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what comes next? What are the big challenges that the next generation of APIs will have to solve? Thanks for tuning in.